Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen wa salatu wa salamu ala Sayyid al-Mursaleen. Allah SWT tells us in Surah Al-Ahzab in chapter 33 in verse 23. بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم من المؤمنين رجال صدقوا ما عاهدوا الله عليه فمنهم من قضى نحبه ومنهم من ينتظر وما بدلوا تبديلا. Among the believers are men true to what they promised Allah. Among them is he who has fulfilled his vow to the death. And among them is he who awaits his chance. And they did not alter the terms of their commitment by any alteration. At the beginning of a school year, when a teacher goes into the class, they see all of the students, they all look the same, they're all smiling, they're all wearing the same outfit. You can't tell them apart. But a little pop quiz, now you can tell that 2 excelled, 10 passed, and 4 failed. So tests are required for anyone who makes any claim, especially when they make a promise to Allah. Allah will test you to see how truthful you are to your promise. So when you say, Ya Allah, I promise to be a good Muslim, or Ya Allah, I promise to do this and this, Allah will test you. Allah will put you in a situation to see how true you are to that statement. So Allah Ta'ala sends surprise tests, to check the truthfulness and sincerity of believers. A believer, anytime that you have to follow your faith and be on the path of the truth, you're going to have obstacles. You're going to have a lot of problems in the society. Your business may suffer. You may have hate and envy from non-believers. Even sometimes your own family may push back. Why do you want to go and be a sheikh or be a scholar? Why don't you be a doctor? Why don't you be this? And they push back. You get difficulties from all around. And these are all from Allah by design. He wants to see how truthful you are to your promise to Him. So a lot of times there is a price to be on the path of the truth, because you're going against everybody else. Because most people are not on the right path, and they will fight you, tooth and nail. So we do not want to fail Allah's tests. When we make a promise, we have to make sure that we are true to our promise and we deliver. And we need to keep this phrase etched in our mind. وَمَا بَدَّلُوا تَبْدِيلًا. They did not alter one bit. They made a promise and they stuck to the promise even if it cost them their lives. And that's what the verse, describing, some of the believers. That's the best of the believers, those who keep their word. Because a lot of times you can have a poor person, nice and very pious, and all of a sudden wealth comes in. He stops praying. Some people are like that. When their status change, they totally change. You can have a modest person, when they're put in a position of power, they start abusing people. So, we have to be true to ourselves, and we have to be true to Allah Ta'ala. So we cannot, a true believer does not waver on the path of the truth, no matter what the situation is. In Surah Al-Isra, chapter 17 and verse 80, وَقُلْ رَبِّ أَدْخِلْنِي مُدْخَلَ صِدْقٍ وَأَخْرِجْنِي مُخْرَجَ صِدْقٍ وَاجْعَلْ لِي مِنْ لَدُنْكَ سُلْطَانًا نَصِيرًا. And say, my Lord, cause me to enter a sound entrance and to exit a sound exit, and grant me from yourself a supporting authority. Now we, in our endeavors in day-to-day life, we enter into many situations. Whether it's business, whether it's family, you're getting married, you're getting a business deal. There are many dealings. So the entrance into any of these endeavors have to be proper, have to be according to the truth, according to Allah's directions. It has to be for Allah's sake, seeking His pleasure, and we have to be mindful to implement the directions that He gave us in the Quran and through Prophet Muhammad ﷺ in his authentic sunnah. And we have to ask for Allah's help to help us accomplish it. So when you enter into a marriage, you want to enter mudkhala sidq. You want to enter into a marriage intending to please Allah and have children that will support the ummah. You want to observe Allah's commands in the process that you go through. How do you get engaged? How do you get married and nikah, and do it properly. You want to seek a good and righteous spouse that will, help you with your matters of your religion and raise your children. And you want to ask Allah for His blessing and help. That's a mudkhala sidq. That's what that means. You enter in an entrance of truth. When you enter a job or a business dealing, you have to enter mudkhala sidq. You have to seek a lawful profession. You have to observe Allah's commands, fulfilling the employer's rights and your co-worker's rights and everyone that you deal with. You have to seek Allah's pleasure and bounty and ask Him for His help to keep you on that straight path. So the tough part of the statement is how the exit. Sometimes it's easy the entrance is okay, but to stay on it all the way till the exit is a lot of times it's very tough. وَأَخْرِجْنِي مُخْرَجَ صِدْقٍ is the second part of that verse. Many enter in one state and exit in a totally different state. Some enter a marriage with good intention, then they get married and they abuse their spouse. Don't do that. Some inflate their resume. They want to, that's a bad entrance to begin with. They inflate their resume, they lie just to get a job. And we see that, the people in IT and stuff, you see that all the time. A little interview, just, they all fall apart. So you cannot do that. You have to enter, if you want a job, you have to be truthful on your resume and enter a truthful way. And when you get that job, you have to exit it on the truth as well. So when you're working, you're not trying to get your coworkers fired so you can get promoted. That is not a makhraj sidq. That is not what you're supposed to do. So some, when they attain position of power, they start abusing people. They have the best intention that they want to help people, and once they see power and fame coming to them, they change. And we seek refuge in Allah that when we enter an entrance of truth and exit an exit of truth. Because Allah Ta'ala will judge us on the entrance, not on the entrance, on the exit. How you exit. Do you remain constant all the way through that endeavor, or do you change? Same thing in Ramadan. A lot of people show up the first 2-3 days. The place is full, and then the numbers start getting less and less and less and less. Where is the commitment? If you make a commitment, to Allah, keep it. Allah expects you to keep it, and Allah will test you to make sure that you keep it. So Allah Ta'ala will never reward on the entrance. He'll reward on the state of the exit. So if you make a mistake, admit to it. Do not cover it up. The truth is the best solution, trust me. You may suffer if you say the truth, but trust me, you will suffer more if you lie to cover it up, because Allah Ta'ala will uncover the truth eventually, because He is al-haq. So do not lie, do not try to cover things up. Take responsibility for your actions. Better yourself, be on the state of the truth. Enter an entrance of sidq and exit an exit of sidq. Now Islam is not just to pray and fast and do hajj and pay zakat and shahada. These are called the pillars of Islam, the foundations. Islam is the structure that sits on top of those pillars. That is not Islam. That's the ibadat are the foundation, and then Islam is a structure that sits on top of those pillars. Islam is good manners. Islam is honesty in dealing with others, at work, in the market, at home. Islam is truthfulness in speech, in buying and in selling, in dealing with others, in being fidelity, loyalty, keeping a promise, sincerity, steadfastness, righteousness, good deeds, and so much more. That's what the structure that is called Islam. It sits on top of those acts of worship. Because if you don't have any of the stuff, what do you have? You have a foundation without a building. So the acts of worship that we do, if we don't back up and build on top of them with all of these great manners and follow the example of Prophet Muhammad SAW, our acts of worship are meaningless. They're just pillars without a building. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.